NASCAR Racing 2003 season is one of the greatest racing simulators of all time, but that doesn't mean it's perfect. Today I'm going to talk about 8 of the biggest flaws I have with NR2003. I am just going to be considering the base game here, so I'm not going to talk about any mods that may fix these issues, as many of them do have mods specifically designed to address them. Now, some of you may argue that a few of the flaws I pick out in this video are me being picky, but that's what you have to do with NR2003 if you actually want to find flaws with it. It's considered one of the best racing games of all time for a reason. So let's get into the list. 8 of my biggest flaws with NR2003. Number 8. Inconsistent contact physics. Now, NASCAR is a motorsport that involves a lot of wheel-to-wheel racing, a lot of bumping around, and NR2003 does a really good job with this most of the time. But sometimes when you make contact, either with the front of your car and the back of somebody, or you make a little right side contact with somebody, it causes your car to completely go out of control, and the AI is not affected whatsoever. It's a pretty frustrating sort of thing to have, especially on a short track. Again, this doesn't happen every time you make contact, but it is really inconsistent, and that can kind of ruin your experience. Number 7. The superiority of the inside lane. Especially on super speedways in NR2003, the inside lane is so much better than the outside, very much so when you're racing against AI. The AI just cannot work together well enough to make the outside lane work, so if you hang around that yellow or white line on the bottom, you're going to find your way up to the front pretty easily. Now, of course, we are talking about the default NR2003 tracks here. There are many modded tracks that try to address this, but for the most part, when you're talking Daytona, Talladega, on the default NR2003 tracks, the inside lane is always the way to go. Number 6. Lap down AI. In NR2003, the AI, when it's a lap down, it doesn't recognize it, so it doesn't know when to get out of the way. This is a compounded issue because the AI that is trying to pass the lap down cars is not very good at doing it at a lot of the tracks that come in the game. This can result in some pretty hilarious situations where the leader is absolutely screwed by lap down cars that are maybe 5 or 6 laps down and have no business getting in the way. Number 5. Crazy aggressive AI at certain tracks. On certain default tracks on NR2003, Richmond is a great example, the AI is hyper aggressive and very much will take the bottom lane from you if you so much as leave 3/4 of a car space at the bottom. It can make these tracks very frustrating to drive because even though you are running with the pack and driving the speed that everybody else is driving, the AI will still dive bomb you and absolutely shove you out of the way. This is definitely a flaw that can be worked on if you explore the track INI files, but at default, if you just load up the game for the first time and you drive at Richmond, you are not going to have a fun time. Number 4. AI behavior under caution. This is another immersion-breaking thing that doesn't affect every race, but can really ruin a long race if you're somebody who likes to do races with cautions and pit stops and stuff. At certain tracks, especially if the AI gets out of order, they will absolutely destroy each other under caution, which can take out a lot of the top contenders in the race. Number 3. The lack of a free movement camera in replay mode. NR2003 is famous for its crash compilations, its offline simulation series, and just basic race simulation features. NR2003 is the quintessential race simulator for simulating races. Interestingly enough, however, by default, replay mode only restricts you to a few preset camera angles. You're not able to freely look around the track. Of course, there are many mods that address this, such as Cam Hack, Free Cam, Camera Control Master, but that means that you do need to download a mod and get it working with your game. You do not have the freedom to freely move the camera in the base game. Number 2. Relatively weak presentation. Now, this one might be a bit of a hot take because I have not heard that many people talk too much about the presentation of NR2003, but I think it really lacks in kind of making things feel special. Now, you get a driver steer your cars, you get a gentleman start your engines, and then after the race you get one screenshot of a post-race screen with some intervals and some crazy music on it. When you win the championship, you just get a screenshot. There's no actual scenes, celebrations, voiced intros, anything like that that you saw in other games at this time. Now that may not have been what exactly they were going for with NR2003, because NR2003 obviously shined so much on the track, but it is something that kind of hurts the immersion a little bit, in my opinion. Number 1, the lack of a career mode. Now this one might be a bit of a pipe dream, but it just hurts me inside to know that if NR2003 had a career mode, and it was somewhere near the level of what EA Sports was doing at the time, it would have elevated NR2003 to being one of the greatest games of all time, period. You see the importance of a career mode in games like Madden and 2K, where players are constantly begging for that sort of thing to be improved upon. Now, I think the lack of a career mode also hurts NR2003's base game replayability. What I mean by that is people have their NR2003's modded to the gills because there's actually not that much content there with the default cut mod on all the default tracks. You can just do a season championship and then that's it. Now, some people have tried to get around this by using Excel sheets, creating their own careers, and that just shows you the desire to have a career mode in NR2003, but I think it would be so much easier and really elevate that game to the next level if it were natively in NR2003. Alright guys, so that's my list, 8 of my biggest flaws with NR2003. Definitely not major flaws, more like small quirks that you can get around if you just give the game some slack. It is 17 years old after all. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I especially want to know if you disagree with me. Do not be afraid to let me know what you think. If you agree with me, that's cool too. Let me know down in the comments. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you are new to the channel, please consider subscribing for me. We did just hit 1,200 subscribers, so if you do want to help me out going forward, you can subscribe. Go ahead and leave a like on this video as well. I do appreciate you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next race.